All right, so this is what I'm going to refer to as MRE oats. Meals, ready to eat, oatmeal. There's different variations. I'm going to explain this one right now. Now, essentially, this is just overnight oatmeal. This is my infamous overnight oatmeal recipe. This is how you know you did overnight oats correctly. Look at that. That's how you do. It doesn't move at all. It just doesn't move. You can even shake it around a little bit. And let me tell you, it is dense. This one serving of the overnight oats will fill you up for quite some time. I'll show you different variations. This is my breakfast variation, and later today I have a protein bar variation that I used to take for the field all the time. Literally, I lived all this stuff when I was in the military. Lived off it. As you can see, it doesn't last very long, but you're gonna mix all of this in one bowl. So 1 cup of old-fashioned oats. I used a scoop and a half of BPN fudge chocolate whey protein, 61 grams of pure pumpkin, which is just half a serving, 1 serving of fat-free, sugar-free Jello pudding mix. This time I used butterscotch, so it's like a peanut butter chocolate kind of variation. And then about 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of milk or almond milk. You mix it all together, put it in the fridge overnight. That's it, you have it. And if you end up doing it exactly this way, your macros are 48 grams of protein, 69 grams of carbs with 10 grams of fiber, and 10 grams of fat. So now I go to the warehouse, because yesterday we ran a 20% off sale and it was absolutely nuts. Oh, camera down. And we're good.
2,000 orders yesterday. A lot coming in, a lot going out. Doing work.
So yesterday was our 20% off sale. Every order within a 24-hour period got a free shaker as well. We had a little over 2,000 orders come in, like Preston was just saying. And this time we put more money into marketing on this campaign through Facebook and AdWords. And what was cool is we had a 30% new market. So 30% of the orders coming in yesterday were from new customers, which is cool to track the money you put in and where it comes from. And it was a big day for us. So the reason I call this morning's recipe Meal Ready to Eat, or MRE oats, is because I literally used to take that same recipe to the field. So I would put in like the oats, the protein powder, the fat-free, sugar-free Jello pudding mix, not the pumpkin, and I just put it in a Tupperware container. And then when I get to the field, like I throw it in my ruck. When I get to the field, if I wanted a meal, I didn't want to eat something like an MRE, I would just throw water in it and mix it up, and it was good to go. It was like a meal ready to eat. And then when I get back from the warehouse, I'll show you how I make it into protein bars as well. But I thought it'd be a cool idea and concept to break open an actual MRE to see the nutrition differences between something like this and something that I make. Now, I've personally never had the chicken burrito bowl. I don't know if this is a new one, but I'm gonna give it a shot. For starters, you have a cinnamon bun. Calories 320, 9 grams of fat, 49 grams of carbs with 6 grams of protein. Hot and spicy baked snack crackers, 12 grams of fat, 28 grams of carbs, 3.4 grams of protein, 235 calories. Tortillas, 220 calories, 5 grams of fat, 37 grams of carbs, 5 grams of protein. The entree itself, the chicken burrito bowl, chicken with rice, beans, and vegetables, right here. 260 calories, 5 grams of fat, 37 grams of carbs, and 19 grams of protein. The infamous cheese spread. The cheese spread has 180 calories, 19 grams of fat, 1 gram of carb, and 5 grams of protein. And last but not least, you get your beverage-based powder, lemon lime, 130 calories, 0 grams of fat, 33 grams of carbs, 0 grams of protein. Let's break one of these open. All right, we're gonna give this a try. Heater's really activating right now. I'm gonna try it first. I'm gonna have Preston try it. That's what we got right here. Let's see. It's the best one I've ever had. You get a full bite. What do you think? Ended up picking up a little bit of Chick-fil-A on the way home. But now we're going to get into my MRE, my meal ready to eat protein bars that I used to make when I would go to the field. I would literally just make these. I would throw them in just like a tinfoil wrap, put them in a plastic baggie and throw them in my ruck. They would usually end up at the bottom of my ruck, like smashed up, but it's like a good nutritional source. Now, in defense of an MRE, they're made to be eaten like very infrequently. That's why they're loaded with calories, carbs, a little bit of protein, high fat. It's so you can sustain a long period of time on just a very dense nutritional product. That's what the MRE is. Now, against the MRE, it's a really poor source of nutrition. So I'm going to show you something I would make that's high in calories, it's high in protein, high in fats, high in carbs, that I could eat when I was in the field in replace of an MRE, but it's a lot more nutritionally dense with vitamins, minerals, good sources of carbs, proteins, and fats. So I'll show you this. So I'm going to use a little bit of old-fashioned oats, some chocolate protein powder. I'm going to use these Rice Puffs. You can also use like Rice Krispie cereal, some dried fruit. These are dried cranberries, some coconut flakes, some of the sugar-free, fat-free Jello pudding mix. I got peanut butter back there. I might throw in some almonds, some honey, and then this is just stevia, like a sweetener. It's been a few years since I made these, but one thing that I vividly remember now is how like much your arm hurts mixing this up, because you want it to be super thick. Like use as little water as necessary to get it all mixed up so that it's like, it's thick. And then what you do is you just form them into like a ball of protein bar shape, put it in the fridge overnight. So all of this mixes together and sits properly with like the fat-free, sugar-free Jello pudding mix. Wrap it in tin foil, take it to the field. You're good to go. All right, today is a deadlift day. Well, it's a back workout, but I'm going to focus a lot on deadlifts. I'm trying to get my strength back with pulling. Just 'cause I took a little bit of time away from going heavy on deadlifts. So I'm going actually back to sumo, pulling sumo again after pulling conventional for a while. So I'm just doing some stretches, try to loosen up the hips, the legs, the lower body to get ready to pull heavy today. So I'm going to work up to a 1 rep max. I'm going for 600 right now, and then we'll see how 600 goes and maybe go up after that. But one of the biggest mistakes I see people doing when they're trying to pull sumo is one, flexibility. You need to be mobile in your hips and your groin. So placing a lot of emphasis on mobility prior to going into sumo deadlifts. But like when you are in the sumo position, a lot of people want to cave their knees in, and that just causes a lot of instability in the entire movement. So keeping your knees pointed out, and you'll see when I deadlift, I keep my knees pointed out the entire time. Makes a huge difference. So the last thing I want to touch on in this video is in regards to goal setting, because 2 weeks ago, and last week I did a lot of Skype calls with people interested in the Creative Fitness Academy. And like after a review that I kind of did personally about all the calls, I realized where a lot of people get stuck is in the middle. And I'll explain what I'm talking about. And at some point, this will probably be its own video. It probably should be. But I really want to get it across in some sort of message because I think it's really important. So, and I do this personally myself. A lot of people know where they're at and where they want to be. Or at least they have an idea. They have like this idea or concept of what that looks like, that objective. So what I recommend doing is literally going to like Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, buying a whiteboard. And on that whiteboard, on the left limit, put today's date. And on the right limit, put what you want to do, whether that's launch a business, or you want a certain promotion, or you want a certain income, whatever that goal or objective is, put it on the right side. That's your timeline, and draw a line in the middle of that. And on that timeline, you need to establish what you need to do to get from point A to point B. And this sounds so elementary and basic, but so many people don't do visual things like this, and they get lost in that trajectory towards that objective. So, like I said, a lot of people know where they're at and where they want to be, and they just are like, well, I'll figure it out along the way. Doesn't typically work like that in most cases. You need some sort of plan, some sort of direction, a blueprint, a framework to get there. So what I recommend people doing is on that timeline, make events and put them in, note cards, 3x5 cards, and tape them to that board. And as you cross them off, pull them off, cross them, off the board or whatever you got to do, so you have that clear path, that clear blueprint and direction that puts you on that line of success from where you're at and where you want to be. And explaining that to a lot of people over Skype calls made a lot of sense, and I wanted to kind of put out in this video because, like I said, so many people get lost in that middle where they don't create that direction, that timeline, that blueprint for themselves, and they just hope they end up on that objective. And it doesn't work like that. So try it out. Literally buy that whiteboard, have that physical product so you can go from where you're at, where you want to be, and you can cross off the things you have to do from point A to point B. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Talk to you in the next one.